I have been trying, truly trying, for the last 3 years to make myself a mushroom girl for Halloween, but this year, I am determined to make it work. And yes, I know it's November. I always take forever to edit these. Of course, that might also be because my sister told me she wants to crochet me a cute mushroom witch hat. And obviously, if I get a custom hat, I have to make the matching outfit. It's the rules. It's officially October 1st, so it's time to get started. Now, did I have every intention of starting this before October so that I had more time? Yes, I did. Did I do that? No. Of course not, but that doesn't matter because I'm going to work on my Halloween costume starting now. Technically starting whenever my pot boils because I need my pot to boil. This project is very much I don't want to have to wait for fabric to show up, so it needs to be here like now. I can go get it at Walmart or whatever. However, that does severely limit what I can and cannot get. The hat that my sister made me is a red, but it's a little bit dark. Like, not dark red, but it's like not bright red either. I don't really know how to describe it, and right now I don't actually have it in my possession because she sent me a picture of it, but I don't have it. I plan to ask for her to give it to me this weekend so that I can do some color matching, but in the meantime I did get some fabric for the bloomers. I only plan on making the bloomers red, so this is all for the bloomers unless I decide to put it in something else. I haven't, I kind of change things as I go, especially if it's my own design. However, this is a bright red, like red. And I think it doesn't match the hat. I, again, don't have the hat, but I'm pretty sure the hat is a little bit darker. And it feels more antique-y in coloring, whereas this feels fresh. I have already washed it, which is why it's wrinkled and kind of coming to pieces. I don't know if you can see this part. Because I actually want to be able to wash this costume, because I never am able to wash my costumes. And you're supposed to wash your costumes before you make them if you're gonna be washing them later. So now that it's washed, I want to antique it. And to do that, I have a coffee pot, which you can't actually see because it's right over here. And I don't want to pick it up because it's currently heating and it's the biggest pot I have. It's actually my dye pot. I don't actually drink coffee or tea or anything that is used when making coffee staining. So my coworker was nice enough to give me some coffee to put into my coffee pot so that I can stain my fabric. Now, there is one problem. This fabric is a poly cotton. It is 65% polyester, I believe, and the rest of it is cotton. So I'm not sure how well it's gonna take the coffee. I'm hoping the cotton will hold on to it just enough that it'll get that antique-y vibe, and honestly I don't mind if it's kind of splotchy. I think it would look better if it was splotchy, but I don't know how it's going to work. But now I'm just waiting for my coffee pot to boil, which I can't actually tell if it's doing because it's soapy. That's my coffee pot. Bubbles, bubbles, bubbles. I hate the smell of coffee, so right now my kitchen smells horrible. I was guesstimating on how much coffee I need, so hopefully I put enough. And my intention is to probably keep this pot of coffee so I don't have to steal my coworker's coffee again, because I will probably have to also coffee stain the fabric for the rest of my outfit, because I think most of the fabric that I have is going to be in white, and I really want it to be like an off-white or antique-y white. So it will probably also need to be coffee stained. So, because I don't know how long I can keep a bath of coffee around. Like, dye is fine. I can keep a bath of dye around because it's not going to go bad. as far as I'm aware. It's just a liquid, and as long as I keep an eye on it, then it should be fine. Especially because I don't plan on keeping it for a very long time. However, foodstuffs I'm not so sure about. I'll have to look up and see if it's okay to have. Now I'm a little concerned that I might have actually put too much coffee in it because that is very brown. And now I'm a little afraid that I don't have enough coffee because that darkened in the way that red fabric darkens when it's wet. And that's not what I'm looking for. But it did say to let it soak for like 15 to 30 minutes. So that's what I'm gonna do. I might turn the heat back on because although it did say you're not supposed to do it at a warm heat because it damages the weft, I'm more afraid of it not taking than I am of damaging the weft because I don't really mind if it's a little bit damaged because again, it's supposed to be antique, it's supposed to be worn. I'm just afraid that it's not gonna take because it definitely doesn't look like it's gonna take. But I am the queen of impatience. And I have done this multiple times in my dye pots where I think that it's not taking the dye, so I add extra dye and then it goes too far, and although it takes immediately, it also does this splotchy stuff that is not what I'm looking for. Well, in this case it actually is, so that would be fine. But that is neither here nor there. So we're gonna wait 15 to 30 minutes, and if it doesn't take, then I am going to add more coffee and reboil my pot and try again. Oh, also, since it is October 1st, it's time to pull out the Halloween mug. It's got the witch's brew. And I know what you're thinking. Didn't you just say that you don't like coffee or tea? Then you would be correct. But it is not coffee or tea. It's a brownie. Ha! Ha ha ha. So I just realized I actually do own coffee that I probably bought for a previous attempt at coffee staining. This one is instant coffee in like the little like K-cups, and also it's apparently medium, bold, and nutty. Apparently the darker the coffee, the better it is for coffee staining. I don't know what that other coffee is. I know it says 100% coffee, but I was a little concerned about using a lot of it because it is my coworker's coffee and it would be a bit rude to use all of her coffee. Now she didn't specify that I had to be careful with how much coffee I used, but still, it's not nice to use all of somebody else's coffee for not even drinking it. But I found my own coffee, so I went ahead and added this coffee to my coffee pot, and I added 3 K-cups. I think that's probably too much, but you know what? I'd rather be safe than sorry. Now, I'm waiting about 3.5 more minutes for my 30-minute timer to be up because after the 15 minutes, it was like hardly darker at all. It does seem to be taking now. It does seem to be a little bit darker. But I just realized if I want to keep my coffee pot so that I can use it for future, I can't dump it out like I normally would with a dye pot. I usually just dump it into the sink and there we go, we have fabric. But I can't do that this time because I need the water to stay in the pot. So we're gonna have to figure out how to do that. Especially, I need to get like some tongs. I need to get some tongs to use for my dye pot. These are my only tongs in the whole house and I don't want to risk destroying them in my dye pot, so I can't use them. All I have is this warped wooden spoon that has already been destroyed by dye, as you can see, because it is originally this color and now it is this color. Okay, so that's hanging to dry, but I think while I was trying to get the coffee grounds off of it, I might have manipulated it too much and squeezed out too much of the coffee. Like, on a normal dye pot, you're supposed to rinse it until the water runs clear. But for a coffee stain, you're actually not supposed to do that because you want the coffee to stay in the fabric to stain it. So when I was trying to get the coffee grounds off, the water started going clear, and that is not what I wanted. So that's gonna dry overnight, and we'll see if it's going to be okay. If not, I did keep my pot of coffee on my counter so I can go ahead and give it another go. But that is going to be a tomorrow problem because I don't have anything else to do today while I wait. I eventually decided that trying to make yet another draft wasn't going to help. At that point, it was doing more harm than good, so we're calling the draft good enough and moving on to the actual process. For my pattern, I'm going to reuse the same base pattern from my Warrior Belle costume, the one I made on Patreon, but this time I'm adding about 6 to 8 inches to the bottom so I can get that big mushroom poof shape. The hip portion of the pattern is cut out, but that's not a problem at all because I want these bloomers to be as big as possible. So I'm just cutting straight across the full width of the fabric. And honestly, this fabric tears in a straight line, and I think this is the first time I've ever worked with a fabric that behaves that well. It's delightful. Well, I suck at math and/or simple logic, because I figured that in order to make my bloomers be super poofy like I want them to, I should make them 2.5 to 3 times bigger than my waist. My waist is about 40 inches. Not exactly 40 inches, but math is easier if we do 40 inches. Which means that at the most, the bloomers should be 120 inches in total. Now, for some reason, I thought that just making the bloomers the same width as the fabric was gonna make my life easier, and that would be perfect. It would be the perfect size, everything would work out well. However, it just now occurred to me that the width of this fabric is about 45 inches. It's a little smaller, but supposedly it's 45 inches, which means that I have just quadrupled my waist, because you do lose some of the inches through the crotch seam. Yeah, so my waist is now quadrupled, and that is way too big, like, for several reasons, one of which being that that much gathered down is just gonna look bad, and the other of which being I still have to embroider all that fabric. Now I have to do the math and figure out how exactly I want to change these patterns so that they're the correct size. I think probably I'll just go down to 30 inches. I don't know if cotton rips that way. Like, I was able to rip it horizontally, which made my life so much easier. But I don't know if I can rip it vertically. I don't know if it works that way. We'll see. It does in fact rip vertically. All I had to do was measure 30 inches, cut a tiny notch, and tear. So satisfying. Then I'll sew all my pieces together. I don't have to worry about raw edges this time because, shocking, I know, I'm actually lining these for once. There. Perfection! These are massive, but hopefully they'll be okay when I put an elastic waistband in them. But for now, I'm going to work on putting together embroidery stuff because I don't want to attach it to the base layer until all the embroidery is done, because I don't want to do all the gathering until all the embroidery is done, because that would be a pain in the butt to deal with. Now I gotta figure out how exactly I want to do the embroidery. The main thing I need to decide on is I forgot when doing the extra 6 to 8 inches. The extra 6 to 8 inches was to make it so that it could be more poofy, but I forgot that I wanted to add some extra inches on the bottom that I could turn over and make a little ruffled edge. So I don't have a lot of length on the bottom that can be used for that. I think it'll be okay. Like, I don't think I need the 6 to 8 inches for the length of the pants. It just messes with the poof a little bit. You don't get quite the right shape, but I think it's okay. I don't really mind having a little bit less of a round shape. I'd prefer to keep a round shape, but I don't really mind not having it. So I think the other thing is I have to decide how big I want my ruffle, because however big I want my ruffle, I need to fold it over, so I would need that twice, and then I would need probably a little bit extra so that the raw edge can be encased when I attach it to the base layer. The other thing I could do is I could just make a strip of fabric and add it on as a ruffle afterwards, which might be what I do. I think that's probably my best bet. I think I'll do that. Alright, so decision made! When it comes to embroidery, the only thing I need to account for is the 3/8 inch seam allowance. I meticulously drew that out along the entire edge of one leg so I wouldn't stitch into the seam, and then neglected to do it for the other. Once that was marked, I could finally start embroidering. Unfortunately, I only have this tiny hoop. It would have been so much easier if I could stretch out the whole leg at once instead of working in tiny sections. Then I'll draw some random vine shapes with chalk. The vines are stitched with a simple stem stitch. The leaves are a lazy daisy stitch, and the mushrooms are penciled in. Chalk just couldn't get in the detail. And then filled with a satin stitch. I'll be honest, this is maybe my 3rd embroidery project ever, so your guess is as good as mine on whether I'm doing anything correctly. But I forge ahead with French knots for the little white mushroom dots, and because I'm extra, I went ahead and added some tiny clear beads at random locations. So I've gotten pretty far on the embroidery. I now have almost all of the bottom of one of the pieces for the bloomers done, and it looks super cute on camera. I've been looking at it too close and it just kind of looks while I'm working on it, but on camera it actually looks really cute. That's so cute. Okay, but this outfit is more than just the pants. I really need to get back to the shirt. I'm using my same Gibson Girl pattern, and apparently I cut everything out off camera. Classic. I'm starting to freak out. Just a little bit. It is currently October 21st, and I have not even finished with one panel of the bloomer. So I've already decided that I will be foregoing the back panels of the bloomers. They just won't get embroidered. And I am going to try to get the front panels embroidered, but I'm not sure it's gonna happen. Like, ooh. I'm running low on time. But to be fair, I wasn't able to work on the embroidery at home. I was mainly working on it in my free time at work, and I haven't had as much free time at work. But I just finished making my wings, which are here. I have just finished making them, and if you'd like to see the making of these wings, I opened up a Patreon where I am putting some exclusive videos, including these wings, but I just finished them, and they were taking up pretty much all of my time at home. So I'm hoping at this point, without that looming over me, I should be able to embroider at home as well as in my free time at work. However, I still have to make the rest of the outfit. So the shirt needs to be made, and that's mainly it. It's mainly the shirt and the shorts. There's not a lot of actual stuff in this project, but I do need to make the shirt, and I need to make the lining layer of the shorts, which is going to include the tulle, which is going to give the bloomers the volume that I'm looking for. So I still need to do those two things, which need to be done at home because of the sewing machine. I have cut out the fabric for the shirt, Unfortunately, my camera died while I was doing it, so we don't have film of that. But it was just cutting out fabric, just like any other time we cut out fabric, so it's okay. However, when I was doing it, I realized that the coffee staining did not take evenly, and while that was kind of the plan, I didn't really want it to take evenly. I wanted there to be kind of splotches and stuff. I think if I wanted to do that, I really needed to make the shirt and then coffee stain it, because right now it's gonna, like, when I sew it together, it's gonna be several different colors, especially because of the little bit of red dye that got into it from the shorts. So some of the pieces are more white, some of the pieces are slightly pink and all that stuff. So I think what I'm gonna do is after I sew it, I'm going to at least boil it again, if not coffee stain it again. And hopefully the current coffee staining will either come out or get a little bit more even throughout the shirt, and maybe the red will maybe be less noticeable. That I doubt, but we can hope. It's not the end of the world if the red stays. A slightly pink shirt would still go with the shorts. It's just not really what the vision was, but it is what it is. So today I hope to sew the shirt and then boil it so that it can dry overnight. But before we do that, I just got the hat that kind of inspired this whole project. My sister made it, so let me show you my hat. It'll look better when I'm not wearing the other headpiece, but this is my hat that my sister made me. It is super cute, and it's going to make this whole project super cute in the end. I just wanted to show it off real fast while I had it available before getting on to work. The shirt is sewn with a 3/8 inch seam allowance. I'm not finishing the seams. This cotton gauze doesn't fray too badly, but if it gets messy later, I might tack them down. I wanted a little lace detail to separate the yoke from the body, but it was so small that I worried it wouldn't stay in place while sewing, so I just attached it to the yoke first. Then I gathered the body of the shirt into the yoke and stitched it on. A true Gibson Girl blouse would have way more fullness, but I didn't have enough fabric for that. To help the lace lie flat, I sew the seam allowance upward toward the yoke with stitches as close to the edge as possible. Then I fold and tack down the button placket, which has interfacing so the buttons don't wobble. So I've reached a little bit of a dilemma in terms of the shirt. I went with the Gibson Girl shirt because I already had a pattern for it. I just had to add length to it. It's still a little short. I currently have my leggings pretty as high up as it's gonna get on the high-waisted, and the shirt is only just barely tucking in the front and like not at all in the back. I currently figured I'd put on a couple of things to simulate what it might look like, just to see if I can't figure out my dilemma. So my dilemma is that I haven't actually figured out how I want to finish the collar and arm band of this particular piece. So I have a little bit of lace around the yoke of this particular shirt, and I plan on putting a tiny embroidery like right here. I feel like it's too simple as it is. I'm wondering if I add more lace, is it gonna be too much? Like, I could just do a simple collar, standing collar, and a simple band around the arm. Just make it a little bit shorter, it's way too long right now. A simple band around the arm, super simple, not a lot to it. Is that gonna be enough? Or if I like maybe get more of this lace, which I'm pretty sure my sister got at Michael's, if I get more of this lace, I could put it on the shirt, but there's two problems with that. This lace is very white. I'm not sure it'll take the coffee stain because I'm pretty sure since it's from Michael's, it's probably polyester. And then the second problem is I feel like if I use this lace on the shirt, it's gonna be too much, like too close. So maybe I can put this lace, I'm thinking maybe about adding it to the shorts. That way I still have the lace coming from the top to the bottom, but for the shirt, maybe I should just stick simple and the pieces on top of it will really be what brings it out. Yeah, I think simple is better for the shirt. When attaching the sleeves, I gathered all the extra fabric at the shoulders so it would have that cute little poof. Then I sewed it together very carefully, trying not to hit the pins. Do not attempt this unless you want a collection of bent and broken needles. To make the sleeves shorter and puffier, I cut more from the inner arm than the outer, creating a curved shape. Then I measured the neckline and the cuff length I needed, cut interfacing and fabric, and made the collar and cuffs. I'm so mad! I was just looking for buttons in my button stash, which most of my button stash is a single button because it's mostly like the leftover buttons that you get from shirts and stuff. I was able to find buttons that might work, though I do have to check to see sizing wise because I found 4 of the same button. They're kind of small. This is the button. It's pretty tiny. But also it's only supposed to close the back yoke, so it hopefully will be enough. But anyway, back to the reason why I'm mad. I thought I had gone through all of my lace in order to pick the lace that I put on the shirt, which is this lace right here. It's rather tiny and pretty simple looking and isn't really a statement, so it's kind of like meh, but I think it's still okay. But I was looking through for the buttons and I found more lace, and I found this lace which I actually like more, but it's already too late. Boo! I mean, technically I could probably sew it on if I sewed it on by hand and just kind of ignored the fact that it like sewed it on top. I just don't think it's worth it at this point to bother with that. I think the simple lace is fine. It's just I would like to have a little bit more. But anyway, back to work. As before, I gathered the sleeve into the cuff, pinned it with far too many pins, and sewed it in place. Then I folded it over and stitched just above the seam allowance to tack it down. The collar is done the same way, except I had to contend with a corner, which is always fun. For the hem, I wanted a rolled hem, but I still haven't emotionally bonded with my rolled hem foot, and I didn't want to iron the fabric unless absolutely necessary, so I rolled the whole hem by hand and pinned it in place. When sewing the hem, I used a special presser foot that's supposed to reduce stretching, but honestly, if it stretches a little, it'll just give the bottom a nice little ruffle effect, so I don't really much care. And finally, I added the buttonholes for the back placket. So I just redid my coffee staining of the shirt. And first of all, definitely, if I'm gonna do this again, we'll do the coffee staining after I make the shirt, because it took in a much better way. And second of all, it took so much better this time, and I think the reason for that is because I didn't know the first time that you're really supposed to put vinegar in with it. I didn't put vinegar in, I think I just put the coffee in, and it just did not work. But this time I was actually afraid that it was going too dark, so I took it out early because I was afraid that it was going to be too brown. It's still currently drying, so I don't know what color it's going to be, but I gave it a good rinse. Like, that's another thing you remember, that I wasn't really rinsing my fabric before because as I was trying to get all the coffee grounds off of it, the color was coming out, and I didn't want that to happen. But this time I rinsed it and the color wasn't coming out at all. I mean, it did. It was like a light brown color, and that was not what I wanted. I wanted an off-white color. So I did give it a good rinse with the hot warm water while I was trying to get some of the coffee grounds off. And once it got to be more of a whitish brown, like white verging on brown kind of color, then I stopped with the hot water and I went over to the cold water, and at this point I was just trying to get the coffee grounds off as much as possible. I wasn't able to get all of it off because that's just a pain in the butt, but I was able to get most of it off, and I was able to rinse the fabric without as much of an issue, and I think that's because of the vinegar. I don't know that for sure, but I believe that to be the case because also I think I used a lot less coffee this time. I think I used hardly any coffee this time. I only used 2 of those little things, and I think actually I didn't need 2. I probably could have just done 1. And I used a lot of water in my pot, so there's that. So now I have the shirt drying in my bathroom. It probably will be there until tomorrow because I expect it to take a while to dry, as it is pretty soaked. Even though I did squeeze as much of the water out as I possibly could, it's pretty soaked. That all usually happens whenever you coffee stain or even dye fabric. So yeah, I expect it to be there at least until tomorrow, and if it's still wet tomorrow evening, because I really don't have to have it before then, if it's still wet tomorrow, then I will probably throw it in the dryer. I just need it to be dry enough that the coffee grounds can be shaken off of it, and then I'd be willing to throw it in my dryer. I don't want to put it in my dryer right now because I'm afraid of the coffee grounds that's still in the shirt getting stuck in the dryer. So yeah, now I gotta get back to working on my embroidery, which is taking way longer than I expected it to. I'm thinking at this point, because it is now the 25th of October and I've not done half of the embroidery that I wanted to do, I'm almost done with the front right side. I have not started on the front left side. I'm thinking I'll probably do some asymmetric work. So like the front right side is going to be fully embroidered in that triangular shape. And then the left side, I'm thinking of kind of trying to get as high up as I can, but probably by like the 27th or so, whatever I was not able to get done by then is just not going to get done, because I still have to give myself some time to actually finish the shorts. And I would like to finish this project before Halloween so that I can post this video on Halloween. So yeah, I'm gonna get back to work, try to get things done. We have liftoff, guys! This is a much better color for the blouse. It's an off-white, which is what I was looking for. It looks very natural, which is what I was looking for. And the red dye that had soaked into it from the pants either has come out or it has gone into the entire shirt, so there's no longer like differing colors on the shirt. So yeah, I've got a nicely coffee stained shirt. Now my dilemma is the buttons. So I went to the store and I bought buttons specifically for this shirt before coffee staining it, because I wanted to make sure that I had done as much of the visible sewing as I could before coffee staining it so that the stitching would also be coffee stained. However, the button that I got are these buttons here, which are very, very white. And if you look at it, it's kind of too white. So the buttons don't really sit very well with this color. They're a little too white. However, I do still have the buttons that I had found earlier, but they're flat, unlike the ones that I had before. And I think they're a little bit smaller. Yeah, they're a tiny bit smaller than the buttons I had before, which means that my buttons holes might be too big. So I'm trying to decide if I want to risk it and just use the brown buttons, because I can always replace them with the white buttons if I have to. But it's just kind of annoying because I had originally thought about doing the brown buttons, but I didn't think they matched. But now that I've got it coffee stained, the white buttons don't match, but the brown ones do, and it's a whole thing. Gonna have to think about that. And then she will be done. I finally, on the 26th day of October, finally finished the one side of the bloomers for embroidery. Now for the other side. I started yesterday and I've only gotten 3 sections done. Asymmetry is fine as long as it looks like it's supposed to be there. I have nothing much to report. I am still working on embroidery, but I just thought I'd show you my perfect mug to make my brownies in. It says all I need today is a little bit of chocolate and a whole lot of fabric. And that is very true of my life. So, show you my coffee mug. Now I'll go back to work. Well, I did not make it. I have, the one side is completely done and it looks super cute. And then the other side is not done at all. I have the mushrooms lower down, there's vine work all the way up to here, and the beads are only at the bottom, so it's not nearly as done as I had hoped. I'm hoping that if I can put the beads in on this side, it'll just look a little asymmetrical, and that'll be fine. And I still have the hoop in because I did start making mushrooms in this hoop part at the top of this side, but I don't think I'm gonna have enough time to finish making the mushroom, so I probably will remove what I have already started so it doesn't look weird. Today is the 29th and I really want to post this on the 31st, so I have a due date of the 30th and I just don't have enough time, so be wasting trying to finish off that embroidery. It's just not gonna happen, and there's no point in me wasting any more time with it, especially because I still have to make the base of the shorts. I still have to cut out, sew the shorts for the base, and then I also have to add the tulle to the sides, which is gonna give it the volume that I'd like to have, and then I also have to add in a closure. Now the closure might not happen today because I don't know if I have a zipper that'll work, but I want to do a back zipper that will make my life easier so I don't have to worry about tying it closed and hoping that I'll keep some wings in place. So I'm gonna have it be, the shorts be fitted like normal and then just have them zip up in the back so that I can close them. So I think my goal today is to totally make the base shorts, add in the tulle, attach the fashion layer to the base shorts, and then I will add the frills and the zipper tomorrow for the short. And then for the shirt, the only thing that's really missing is the buttons. So yeah. Then I used the same pattern to make the base shorts, just filling in the missing hip curve with a straight line. I sewed everything together the same way as before. I also picked up a red zipper at the craft store. Have y'all ever had a pair of pants that just hug your curves so perfectly that you just look and you're like, oof, nice butt? Well, these shorts that I have just made have that exact touch. Oof. So nice curve. The back is so nice. The front not so much. The front crotch is wrinkling, so still haven't gotten the front crotch quite right, but unfortunately for the back side and fortunately for the front side, no one will ever see the fit of these shorts because we're going to finish attaching the bloomers and then you will never see the tight fitted bottoms. Unfortunately, I did have to open the back seam of the red short so I could actually access the zipper, but that just means a little bit of seam ripping. Then I gathered the red shorts onto the base shorts by hand. For long lengths of fabric, I find hand gathering less fiddly than trying to run a gathering stitch through the machine, so I tend to do it that way. Alright, we have pants. They still need like the waistband and the bottom, but they are wearable, so I wanted to try them on and see how they look. I wish, like, if I fluff it out a little bit, it looks so much cuter. So I do wish that it had more volume. I think actually I might hold off on putting the waistband on. Let me see if I can't hide the waistband with my shirt, because if I can hide the waistband with my shirt, I might hold off on it because I might want to later actually put in something, like undo the waistband so that I can put in something more voluminous to give these trousers more oomph. I don't know, like, it's fine, but I almost think it's too boring. Like, this hat is super cute, the wings are super cute, but like the rest of it's just kind of like it's missing something. I do think it is not noticeable that the waistband's not finished. The shirt's not sitting quite right now because I still haven't put the buttons in the shirt, so it's not quite finished. I mean, at this point, this is where I'm going to have to stop because honestly, I've run out of room. I've run out of time. It looks a bit dumpy, it does, but I realize that might also be because I look a bit dumpy at the moment. I have, like, my hair's all messed up. I've probably got bags under my eyes. I haven't slept. And it's probably my fault. It's probably half my fault, and I can maybe accessorize a little bit more tomorrow morning. But for now, I just need to be done.
We now interrupt your doom scrolling to bring you this.
I did wind up stuffing the bloomers with lots of tulle, like whatever was left on the bolt of tulle that I had, I stuffed into the bloomers, which made it so they actually bloomed out, and it looked so much better than just having them floppy like they had been. I did not finish the waistband or the leg cuffs because the leg cuffs were covered by the length of the red shorts and the waistband was covered by the black corset belt that I had. This certainly wasn't my best project ever. I've done better, I've also done worse. And I think if I ever do wind up finishing this project, I will love it and adore it, and it will be all the best. But right now there's definitely some issues. The shorts don't quite fit right in the crotch. I think that the fact that my original shorts pattern had the hip cut out actually allowed it to move where it normally wouldn't have. So when I put the hip back in, it didn't fit right. So I still need to figure out how exactly to fit pants because that has always been a problem for me. Skirts are so much easier, obviously. And I'm a little disappointed in myself for not finishing the embroidery, but that was a lot of embroidery to try to take on in a month. And I really should have lowered my expectations and given myself a lot less to do. The shirt I was really happy with. It is a little short because apparently I cannot for the life of me make a shirt that is long enough for me, even though I thought that I had done all of the length and stuff to make sure that it actually fits. But no, it's still too short. And it's also missing. I really wanted to do a little embroidery emblem here, which I can still do. It's not like it's not gonna happen. It's just right now I don't want to do it because I have finished the project, and whenever I finish a project I don't want to go back to it. So hopefully I will eventually come back to this project and actually finish it, along with several of my other projects where I have been like, and that's good enough. I'll probably have like a collection of projects that I never finished and eventually just have a video where I go, and now I'm gonna finish like all of the projects that I ever worked on. But that is going to be a far future project for now, but I do think it's super cute. It is darling. And for the most part, I'm definitely getting there with the fit of everything and learning how to, well, I'm still not good at being able to curb my expectations, but that is something that I am learning along the way. And that's where I'm going to wrap things up for today. I didn't technically finish the shorts or the shirt for that matter. There were several things of embroidery that I didn't get around to, but it was Halloween and that was the purpose of this costume, was to wear it for Halloween. And I will say that it was a super cute mushroom girl, so I am very happy with it. Thank you so much for hanging out with me while I stitched, embroidered, gathered, ripped seams, gathered again, and generally tried to make my mushroom fairy dreams come true. I hope you enjoyed watching the process as much as I enjoyed making it, even the fiddly parts. Thank you again for supporting me here. It really means the world and lets me keep making these fun little fantasy projects. I'll see you in the next video. Bye! Whoop! Down come the wings! You look like you don't love me.